Well, joining us to break it all down is Austin Walker. He is the CEO and Managing Principal at A. Walker & Company. Austin, it's great to have you with us in studio.
It's great to be with you, Trinity.
So how do you see the new administration's policies impacting the real estate developer sectors, specifically those focused on affordable housing?
Yeah, I think it's going to impact things in a very dramatic way. Coming out of COVID, the housing market has faced very substantial challenges in terms of construction, volatility, and interest rates, all things that really drive the housing market. I think this administration has a very big opportunity to really reshape a lot of the programming, specifically around housing finance. That's one of the biggest, I would say, headwinds that we are looking at right now. Is you'll see all across the news, privatization of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, sweeping changes at Housing and Urban Development, who really kind of focus on giving capital and liquidity to really the most vulnerable parts of the market in terms of affordable housing and supportive services to homeless residents and underserved tenants. So that's really what we see as being one of the biggest opportunities, and seeing how the political landscape may shift in terms of supporting low-income housing.
But what policy changes should developers be focused in right now, especially when it comes to tax incentives or housing subsidies?
Absolutely. So, we see it all across the country. We run a boutique private equity firm that focuses specifically on working and developing and acquiring housing in markets, specifically leveraging these subsidies and tax abatements and other programs. Seeing some continuation of those programs and expansion of those programs should be very, very substantially supportive to the marketplace. Things like opportunity zones, basically retrenching those benefits, other tax incentives that are available to us, depreciation, bonus depreciation, all things that were very critical to the first Trump administration. We'll see how those play out, but that's really where the focus is right now. It's sort of being adaptable to change, keeping your finger on the pulse in terms of what changes might be coming. I think one of the bigger challenges in all of affordable housing and housing development in general is very, very localized zoning. So seeing how the administration will really interact with state governments and how those policies may potentially trickle down to local MSAs is very important in terms of driving housing development and clearing the red tape. So from a regulatory standpoint as well, it's a big area of focus.
And do you think that these sort of policy shifts are creating more opportunities for affordable housing development?
I think so. It really is going to come down to the confluence of all of these elements and how they come together. There's still very significant headwinds externally, like interest rates, that are really outside of the administration's control. The market's going to react to, the tariffs, other inflationary measures, and you're already seeing, sustained high interest rates, more sustained than we've seen in a few decades. So these are all challenges that we're going to have to work through. I think everybody in the housing industry is really in a wait-and-see posture.
And as a minority-owned real estate fund manager, what sort of challenges or opportunities have you personally faced, and how did you overcome them, and how did you seize the opportunities?
Yeah, look, our organization was largely founded off the wake of George Floyd. Everybody in the industry really wanted to be supportive of minority investment managers. We were the beneficiary of a lot of that, having partnered with publicly traded institutions as well as, large family offices to get our platform off the ground. We operate almost specifically in underserved and minority-led, communities, and it takes a lot of public-private partnerships to get housing developments out of the ground. A lot of constituents participating in these developments, whether it's locally at the municipalities, they have minority-led mandates which support, black and brown businesses in terms of construction, subcontractors that are, really included in these projects on a mandated basis. Sweeping changes to DEI initiatives and other things, social and racial equity programs, for those to be going away, which is a larger priority, it seems, of the administration, for good, bad, or worse. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out long term. But I think, private markets adjust very quickly, and it's just, again, a wait and see.
We have about 60 seconds left, but I do want to get your take on any advice you have that you would give to developers who are trying to stay ahead in this ever-changing landscape and navigating through an uncertain market.
Yeah, I think it's just the day-to-day, really knowing your markets, specifically, working with your local electeds, understanding what policy shifts could be happening, participating in lobbying organizations. There's a whole range of large-scale and local-based lobbying organizations who really have their finger on the pulse of coming legislation that, again, are also, shaping and really ahead of the curve on, things that can dramatically impact the outcome of a development. At the local levels, these administrations turn over every 2 years.
Yep.
The longer lead times that you have on a development project coming out of the ground makes you susceptible to those shifts in administrations at the local level, which really, makes or breaks a project. So,
Austin Walker, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, Austin Walker, CEO and Managing Principal at A. Walker & Company. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.